Item 6, to resolve to agree agreement on an updated freedom of information policy. Sue, that's you, isn't it?
I'm afraid so. This has been an interesting little exercise, and I now know that if ever I'm suffering from insomnia, I just open the Freedom of Information Act. However, I'm working very much with Becky. We've had advice from LALC, which is the Lincolnshire Local Councils Association, and on their advice, Breakthrough Communications, who live and breathe FOI. So what we discovered, and the reason we're doing this, for people who may not know, is we've been having quite a high number of FOIs, and it's causing a degree of issue for Becky trying to get them all done
19.
within the time scales.
Since June, just so everyone knows.
Yeah, it is quite a lot higher than would normally be expected for a parish council. So we decided we needed to look at what was coming in and what our actual requirement was in terms of freedom of information. What we discovered was that we are actually going over and above beyond what the FOI Act asks us to do. So we're carrying out a lot more work, and legally we have to. So, what did we come up with? We had a 2-hour meeting with Breakthrough Communications, who were extremely helpful, and this was what we were told are the FOI requirements. Basically, it has to be in writing, either on paper or email, easy. It has to state the name of an applicant and the address correspondence, so a letter or email is fine because you've got an address. But if it's just signed, say, Joe, that's not good enough, because we don't know how many Joes there are in Holwich Parish Council, Holwich Parish. So it has to be signed Joe Bloggs or Mr J Bloggs or whatever. If it doesn't meet that test, it goes straight back because we cannot process it. It must also describe clearly the information that is being requested. So then, and this is basically where we've got to, that there are a number of other criteria that have to be further evaluated. So it's got to be clear, it's got to ask all information that is required, and it has to be specific. So for example, asking for all information about who's rented a piece of land, we can say, no, hold on, we can't actually answer that. Are you talking 1920s, 1950s, 2000s? It has to be specified, that has to be specific. So it must be something, this is the next test, it must be something that isn't in the public domain. So if somebody comes to us and says, can you tell me about the land registry of this? We go, sorry, land registry is publicly available, go and look it up. If it is something that we have already published on minutes of meetings, same thing, it's publicly available, go and look it up. What we have been doing historically is looking it up for them. And that is creating a lot of extra work that we actually don't need to do. So, it also must not breach GDPR. So if somebody says to us, can you give me information on who's renting this land or who's bought, provided this, we can say no because we have to release personal detail to do that. So we don't do it. It mustn't ask for details that are directly connected with the requester. Now this is an odd one, and it's not really likely to happen, but nevertheless it's still part of it. So for example, if somebody who was, for example, once a councillor, comes back and says, can you give me some information that was in that closed session when I was involved and I was a councillor, we go, no, because it's personal information and it's not something that they would be allowed to have at this point in time. So, no. Finally, well, nearly finally, the request mustn't ask details where the answer could compromise safety and security of our property. So they can't ask for things like, where are you storing that? Because we could then be telling them, if they find somebody else finds out, we are putting our property at risk. So that's a no-no. And this is the really complicated one. A request mustn't be overly burdensome. What that means is, in the Freedom of Information Act, it says if something is estimated to take at least 18 hours, then that is overly burdensome. And the Act is quite complicated in that it says it doesn't just have to be one request that is over 18 hours. It can be a series of requests where there's obviously a link between them. There's a theme, there's something running through them. And it doesn't just have to come from one person. So it could be 2 or 3 people sending them in, but when you look at them in the whole, they all relate. And there is a 60-day period for that. So if we get 2 or 3 come in, and then we get another 2 or 3 come in, over that 60 days, we could end up saying, well, hang on a minute, you've reached that limit now, we're not doing any more. We have to estimate, and there are very specific things. We have to determine if we hold the information. We have to find it, whether it's electronic or on paper. We've got to go and get it out, and then we've got to extract it in such a way that it can be presented. That is how we make up the 18 hours. Now, we are not required under the Freedom of Information Act to tell the requester how we came up with that estimate. If they want that information, they've got to appeal to the ICO, the Information Communications Office, and we have to provide them with it, but we do not provide it direct to the requester. So, Breakthrough Communications said, do not write a policy, because the legislation is the policy. And as soon as you start messing about and adding bits in and reinterpreting it, you're basically going to tie yourselves in knots, so don't do it. The suggestion is we just put a statement on our website that says we fully comply with the Freedom of Information Act and the ICO requirements and case law. That's it. We don't need to do anything else. We looked at the potential for charging, again, to try and just recoup some of the costs. Breakthrough said, don't do that. The ICO take a dim view of it, and if somebody goes and appeals it, we could get our wrists slapped. So he said, do not go down that route. The only time that you would go down the route of looking at cost is if we think we're over this 18 hours thing. So all future requests should go through this process of evaluation, and Becky's already been quite clued up on that one. We know that we have 20 days to reply. If, when a request comes in and it's evaluated and we decide that in its present form we cannot answer it for whatever reason, whether it needs additional clarification or whatever, Breakthrough have given us a series of template letters that we can use to just put the bits in and send it straight back. Once it's gone back, that 20 days has stopped. And it's only when a new request comes in, a refined request, that 20 days does not restart, it starts again, because the previous one is gone. So, we should be then in a much better place in terms of complying with this 20 days. If, yeah, I've done that bit. Okay. We have, again, been advised by Breakthrough. They gave us the example of Transport for London. Transport for London published all of their FOIs, and they published all the answers. And then if somebody comes up with a similar one, they just go, it's all been published, go find the answer.
Section 21.
Section 21. Yeah, we're very good at Section 21 and Section 40 and something good at X, Y, Z. So basically what we're suggesting and proposing is that we have this evaluation process properly in place, which is really just implementing what the Act says. We are scrupulous in how we do this, and where we need to, we send clarification letters or refusal letters back to requesters. The templates all give the details of how to contact the IOC, ICO, let's get that one. We're not the International Olympics Committee. They have a perfect right, a requester who doesn't agree has a perfect right to go to the ICO and appeal it. And the ICO will then come to us and ask what was going on, why did you say that? And then they will make an adjudication on that. The whole purpose is not to stop people sending in requests. It is to make sure that we are processing them correctly as per the Freedom of Information Act. So we evaluate, we communicate very quickly, and we make sure that we are answering only those requests that we are legally required to do so. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Thank you for that, it's very good.
I think that we just follow that. That's it. Done.
Fine, so my proposal is, one, we put a statement up on the website that says we are compliant.
Yeah.
Two, we go through an evaluation process for every request when it comes in, and that we adopt the template letters to ensure that we are dealing correctly with our requesters.
I'll second that.
Can I just add into that that we then disband our current policy as
Yes,
well as part of this?
Yes.
Because that's got some template letters in and
Yeah,
procedures
just get
that
rid of it.
well,
we'll get rid of that one.
okay, we do that.
So,
I'll propose it.
you propose that, can I have a seconder? John, all those in agreement?